Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be trying out a brand new foundation from Patrick Ta, and I'm really excited about this. I love trying out foundations, definitely my weakness. So this is the Cream Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo. This was sent to me in PR. Of course, that does not change anything of like my reviews, my opinions. I would have honestly bought this anyway because it is so hyped up right now and I got to see what the hype is about and if it's worth that $52 price point. So you get the foundation and you get the finishing powder as well, which I really appreciate in Patrick Ta's products. I know his blushes come with a cream and powder as well as his bronzers. I do like his blushes more than the bronzer, but I just love when especially a high-end product comes with like a 2-in-1 kind of thing, because then it just makes it that much more worth it. But this has an almost 5-star rating. I'm looking on my phone right now on the Sephora app and it has really good reviews. So we're gonna see if it's worth the hype and how it applies, how it wears. We're gonna do a first impressions, wear test, and test it out. So definitely grab a snack, get cozy, and let's get into it. So I just did a little skin prep, and by the way, I have combination skin. Sometimes it's a little bit more on the dry side depending on the weather, but typically it's combo, pretty kind of normal lately with a couple little dry patches, but I just hydrated because I feel like I needed it today. So I used my Milani Make It Last with the Milani Supercharged Dewy Primer. I love these primer combinations because it works really well with a lot of my favorite foundations. So a couple highlights on the foundation. It's a pressed powder formula and a cream formula, because again, you have those 2-in-1 products. You get medium coverage with a natural finish, and it's good for pores and best for oily, combo, and normal skin. It says it's a blendable medium coverage foundation paired with a satin finish powder, and the duo includes a buildable, breathable cream formula that melts into and moves with your skin, which is really interesting. Comes in 24 different shades and it retails for $52. So it is really pricey, but like I said, it has some good reviews. So let's try it out. And I do have the dual-ended brush. This is $45 though, so I'm gonna try it out on one side, and then on the other I'm gonna just use my regular brushes that I love with all of my foundations, because I'm a firm believer that if a foundation is really good, you don't need to buy the tool that comes with it, because you should be able to use your favorite tools with any foundation. But I'm gonna try it out just because I have it here and we'll see. And I do like the brush, it feels really soft. So you have the foundation side and then the brush side. So I'm going to use the shade Light Medium 2. I am hoping that this is going to match, but we'll see. Let's do one little stripe. Ooh, okay, wait, this color actually is going to match. That looks a little bit warm, but I think once I blend it out and add my concealer and everything, it should work. Oh, wow. That really just like disappeared into the skin. The brush feels super soft. And that's pretty. You see I have a little bit of scarring right above my lip. Let's see how that covers up. Pretty good. That is so stunning. That is really, really skin-like. To be honest, this doesn't really look like foundation. It just sitting onto the skin really nicely, and it's just kind of enhancing the natural skin, which is really pretty. The brush applies the product really nicely as well, but the formula seems to be really blendable. I don't feel like you need this brush to make this work. I think that's really, really beautiful. It does appear a little bit more dewy because of that dewy primer that I have on underneath, but it feels really nice, the foundation, like the formula of it. But I'm sure you could even do this quicker if you have a bigger kabuki brush for your foundation as well. So I think that looks really good. You can see it really just kind of evened everything out while still keeping my skin looking fresh and natural, I guess, if you will. Like, it really doesn't look makeup-y, and it doesn't look like I'm wearing a ton of makeup, but it definitely just evened everything out and enhanced my natural skin. Let me show you what this looks like on the phone so we can get a little bit of a better shot. So this is what the foundation looks like on, and then this is no foundation. So it really is like your skin, but very enhanced, very glowy. And I know it is going to be a little bit more glowy looking because of that dewy primer that I used. But when I was watching a couple other reviews, you do get a little bit of like that natural dewy finish. It does say it's a natural finish, but I think it has a little bit of like a dewy factor to it. And you can even tell by the formula, which, by the way, let's just talk about this packaging. I absolutely love it. Like, this little cover on it, so nice, especially if you want to just throw this in your purse. But the formula, you can kind of see it. It's a little bit just on the creamy side. Like, it has like that very creamy, natural, dewy finish, which is really pretty. It melts into the skin, you guys. Like, it really does. and it doesn't even really look like foundation. Like it looks very skin-like, not like super makeup-y, which I appreciate in a foundation. I'm gonna do the other side though with a different brush. I do think the brush is nice, but again, I don't feel like this is necessary. It is pretty small as well, so I mean, you can really get in there and blend it in. And you know what? I'm also even gonna apply some on my under eyes, which I never do this, but I feel like this kind of product is meant to be something that you pretty much apply all over and then set it with the powder. Like it's meant to be a like quick and easy kind of on the go, effortless kind of product. So I'm gonna put some on my under eyes so we can see the coverage and how it looks. I never put foundation on my under eyes, but I think this color is really nice. And like I said, I'm loving this formula. You see, like that finish is so gorgeous. It really is like just melting into the skin. It's crazy. My lash is lifting, that's cute. Oh, both of my lashes are lifting. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna try it on the other side with my favorite foundation brush, the Anisa Beauty Pinnacle Foundation, which I feel like I said, with this formula, it seems like it's gonna be really creamy and perfect with any foundation brush. I don't think you need that brush duo. Look at this. Okay, maybe the color isn't like a perfect match. It might be like slightly a little bit too yellowy. So yeah, I actually feel like if you're using another brush, you're gonna be able to do your makeup even faster versus using this brush because it is much smaller. So that's why I prefer something like this, because it's just quicker. To be honest, I think I like it more with my regular foundation brush. It's easier, and then you don't have to keep dipping back into the product. And like I said, I like it even in the under eye area. I'm gonna use just a little bit more on my under eyes with a little concealer brush. This one is the Anisa Beauty Angled Concealer Brush. I mean, I know that I did have that primer on underneath, but I feel like the foundation itself does also have a natural dewy finish. It's a really creamy foundation, so setting it for sure is a must. Okay, that is what it looks like. I think it looks beautiful. Let's try out the powder and then we'll go back into my camera. Okay, so I'm gonna just dip into the powder using the powder brush. I'm gonna start with my under eyes first. That is so pretty. The powder is super seamless. I'm not gonna add, by the way, any other creams. I'm just gonna do this and probably just add a little bit of bronzer and powdered blush, but clearly you can see a difference. It does need to be set because it is such a dewy kind of formula, but that looks beautiful, that powder. I even also like it on my under eyes because it doesn't feel dry and doesn't make my under eyes look really crepey, which I really appreciate. So this is the powder. It definitely has a satin finish. It doesn't look super matte, but I like the way that it set the makeup. It looks really soft. And then you can see this is, like I said, super dewy. So it needs to be set because I think even if you have dry skin, I can see this kind of like moving throughout the day because it is such a creamy kind of finish and like formula. Actually, like, to be honest, I like the way the product applies more with the brushes that I use typically versus the Patrick Ta brush. So I don't really think this is necessary. I don't think it's a bad brush, but I don't think that you need it. I think that there's other brushes that you could use, like your favorite brushes, I feel like would work beautifully with the powder and with the foundation. So I like that. So you don't really, like, don't feel obligated to get the other brush because you don't need it. So I'm just actually using, by the way, this is the tapered highlighter brush from Anisa Beauty, but I love it for powders as well. And I'm just kind of touching up on this side because I feel like it looks a little bit softer with this brush versus the brush that I was using. To finish off my face, I'm just gonna add a little bit of bronzer and blush. And since this is a Patrick Ta foundation video, let's go in with some Patrick Ta products. So I have his cream and powder bronzer duo. I tried this like a year ago and I honestly wasn't that big of a fan of it. I definitely liked the blush more, but let's try it out again. Again, you do get the cream in here as well, but I don't really want to add too many creams because I just really want to try out the foundation itself. So I'm just gonna add powders. Okay, that gives me actually a nice little wash of color. And this one I have in the color, did I tell you? She's Sculpted. Okay, and then for blush, this is one of my all-time favorite high-end blushes, and She's That Girl. This I love. I love the cream. I love the powder. Today I'm just gonna go with the powder, but I feel like this is the most beautiful pink that's gonna look good on a lot of different skin tones. So I'm just applying some of that. It's the most beautiful pink. It's really pigmented as well. I'm gonna blend that out. Blending out the edges of this to make it a little bit softer. I think this is a great splurge item. I love it. This is one of my all-time favorite blushes. And before I do my lower lash mascara, I'm gonna set with Milani Make It Last. Okay, this looks really good. I don't think the color is an exact perfect match. I feel like it is pulling a little bit kind of yellowy on me. Like, it's not perfect, but I think it's doable. I probably might need one shade below this. And also, hello, I did not wear any concealer, which is such a big deal for me. Like, I never do this, but I really liked the formula and like the consistency of the foundation so much that I wanted to try it out on the under eyes because I did like how it's sitting on the face. And I feel like I will say, I think it looks really good on the under eyes. I could have probably added maybe a little bit more to enhance the coverage a bit, or maybe even used like an under eye corrector or something underneath, but I still like it. I don't feel like it's heavy on the skin. I love the formula. I like the coverage that it provided. And I really actually like the powder as well. I can see a little bit of kind of like that satin finish peeking through a little bit. So if you're looking for something matte, this is not it. And the packaging I also really like. I think it's going to be good for touch-ups. I will definitely report back in a couple hours. It's a little bit later in the day. It's like 2 o'clock right now, but I'm still going to wear this throughout the rest of the day. It's 2:09 right now. I'll wear this for as long as I can. Normally for me, I can start to tell if I really like a foundation based on how it wears within like 4 to 6 hours. So I'll check back in with you guys and keep you updated. Hi guys. All right. So I am back and it is 9:30 p.m. So it has been a couple hours since I last checked in with you guys and since I first of course applied the foundation. And mind you, I have not touched up and I honestly really haven't done much today. I was just in the house getting work done. That's why I got my robe on. It's about to be that time of the month, so I'm kind of just in like lazy mode to be honest. But that being said, you can see my face is extremely oily and I don't even really have super oily skin. I mean, I know I did use a dewy primer, but again, I do use that primer with many other of my favorite foundations. But the foundation, besides the primer, it is very dewy. It has like a natural dew to it and it is super creamy. So just something to keep in mind. You can see on my T-zone, I definitely need to blot. I have not touched up or anything. But like I said, I wasn't really doing anything today. Like I didn't work out. I wasn't like outside sweating or anything like that. It is a little bit chillier here in PA now, but my point is I wasn't really doing much, but my skin is still very, very dewy, oily, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Actually, I would say it's more oily than like dewy. So kind of my first impressions, I feel like if you have super oily skin, this foundation is not for you, especially because the powder does have a little bit of that satin finish. So it's not matte at all, even when you do set it. I also do notice a little bit of like just cakiness around the nose. There is a little bit of separation and fading on the under eyes. So it did fade in this area. And I just don't really feel like it looks that great. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great either. So I am going to blot and touch up with the powder so we can kind of see that in action, but you can still see like the blush and everything still peeking through. For the most part, the foundation is still in place, but it's just like super oily. Like it looks like I just got done working out. Let's blot the skin because it's so necessary. Blotting definitely helps. There actually is also a little bit of fading right around this area. I was using a tissue though because my nose is a little bit stuffy. So this is kind of like the oil. You can see it's quite a bit. So let me go ahead and set the face and I'm just going to use the powder. The powder really is like so beautiful. I actually think I like the powder more than the actual foundation itself. I just love like how soft it is on the skin. It's so beautiful and it really is like a smoothing powder. The color is off. I could like see it right now, especially. It's a little bit too dark. I need a shade lighter than this, but I do like the powder. You do get 2 products, which is really nice. Like I like the concept of this because it's so easy to touch up with. I love like the packaging, it's beautiful. The powder I like more than the foundation itself. I don't mind it really being shiny because you can like blot that, but it is a bit excessive, especially considering the fact that I really didn't do much today. Like any strenuous activities. So I can't say that this is a favorite, especially because I don't really love the way the foundation itself wore. I do think it looks better now after like touching up with the powder and blotting, but I definitely have had, I think, better results, like I said, from other high-end foundations. So final thoughts. I'm actually gonna give this foundation a 7 out of 10 because I do think it's beautiful. It applied really nicely. I actually really liked how dewy and fresh it looked earlier. And especially after I set it down with the powder, I thought that was so blurring and soft, and it really makes your skin look really like airbrushed. But I do like the powder more than the foundation itself. I'm not crazy about how the foundation wore because I feel like I haven't even been wearing it for that long, and I didn't really do much today for it to be as oily as it was. And I feel like this one itself, it just needs something more matte underneath, and it needs a matte powder because the formula is super creamy and it does have that natural dewy finish. I think matte products with it is probably key, but I will keep using it and testing it out with some matte products and keep you guys updated. I'm curious to know if you guys have tried this. What are your thoughts? Hi guys! Okay, so we are officially wrapping up this foundation first impressions and review because I did end up wearing the foundation again yesterday, so I have some thoughts. So I did skin prep a little bit differently this time because I feel like the first time my skin was just super dewy, which mind you, I did need it that day. It was a little bit on the dry side, so that's why I did prep so much with like very dewy products. Yesterday when I tried this out, I went in with the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer because I wanted a little bit of a smoother look, but with more of a natural finish, and that does that for me. And then I followed up with the foundation. Again, I know the color is off. Light medium 1 I think would be a perfect match, but I ended up making it work with powder and concealer, which you'll see in a minute. But you can see the foundation did apply, I feel like, really nicely. There's no denying that it melts into the skin effortlessly. I like the coverage that it provides. I would say it's more of a natural medium coverage. Even building this up though, you're not going to get super full coverage. This is definitely more of just like an everyday makeup kind of product. It blends really beautifully into the skin, which I appreciate. It has a very creamy formula, but you can see the finish is still a little bit dewy, but very natural dew. It really just also comes down to how you prep your skin. And I also didn't bring it up into my under eyes yesterday because I didn't really love the look of it the first time that I tried it out. Like, I loved it at first, but then the way that it wore, it separated, it started to fade, and it just didn't really look that great on the under eyes after a full day of wearing it. So I just used my regular concealer, and what I did differently yesterday was actually went in with a translucent powder, and I used the one from ColourPop because it gives such a pretty soft matte finish, but it's not drying. With this foundation, since it does have such a creamy formula, you really need to set it down with a translucent powder before going in with the powder that comes in the compact. At least that was, like, from my experience, what I feel like worked best. So I did that, and then I went in with the powder in the compact as like a finishing powder to really top everything off. This powder in here, I will say, is stunning. I wish you could buy it by itself because it has the most beautiful satin finish. I love how soft it is on the skin. It's very airbrushed, so I really liked that combination. And then I just followed up with my regular cheek products, and I used the Milani Make It Last setting spray, and this is what everything looked like. So I thought it looked really good, and I definitely did like it the first time that I tried it out when I first applied it, but then the second time I thought it also looked really nice as well. And it did wear a lot better the second time than it did the first time, and I think, again, that all comes down to the skin prep and using that translucent powder. I feel like really helped to seal the foundation down into place. But I did have a little bit of separation around my mouth, around the nose, so it did come off in those areas. So I will say it's not a perfect foundation, and I definitely think I like the powder in here more than the foundation itself. I mean, there's no denying the foundation is beautiful. It melts into the skin, but I feel like for that $52 price point, I'm gonna have to probably pass on the foundation. I don't think it's 100% worth it. I think you can get a much better result with other foundations as far as like wearability, coverage. It's definitely not a bad foundation, but I don't think it's like one of the greatest foundations, especially again for that price point. So it's not terrible, it's not amazing, it's kind of just average to me. For $52, I'm like, I don't want to recommend something to you guys just for one product, so that's why I feel like you can definitely skip out on this. So yeah, there's no denying that the foundation is beautiful. I just wish it wore a little bit better, and I feel like after a couple hours it starts to look very just makeup-y and kind of a little bit heavy on the skin. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this foundation. If you guys have tried it, let me know what you think. I really hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in my next one. Bye!